All
So
right, did you send
mad.
me the link?
Yeah, to your Facebook. Yeah. You want me to put it in the
No,
chat
I
as
got
well?
you.
You know what's the worst part?
Hmm.
Notre Dame lost to NIU yesterday.
Oh, I'm gonna hear about it tomorrow. All right, just.
Oh, I'm already hearing about it. Trust me.
All right, so let me just do my thing here.
Oh yeah, I could do that too, but I just don't have my proper setup. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I want to just
I know I have a
mute
whole
the.
entire PC and everything, just packed away in storage. I'm telling you, I was a
Imperfect action,
streamer.
right?
Yeah, I was a streamer and editor for a friend of mine in our channel. So this is nothing really new to me. And I took classes like that. So
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show as we have a few technical difficulties. We need to start spreading this around really quick. Can we start spreading this to Discord as well? Let them know what we're up to.
yeah, I got you.
All right, I think we're good. I just need somebody else to check and see what the audio sounds like. I think I muted muted the game audio so we don't hear drums for the next 45 minutes.
No, you're good. I muted my.
No, it's
Well,
that's.
yeah, no, you're good. Okay.
I'm just telling you what we're doing on the stream. Yeah, this is gonna be it's a little rough start. Again, Bimble and I had this almost down to a science, but we're not going to talk about Bimble in this broadcast the rest of the day.
Why? If you don't mind me asking.
We're live. I'll tell you later.
Ah.
All right, we're gonna start sharing this.
And I can post the link in the your Facebook.
Oh, hello. Yes, it is. I'm gonna slide that over here so you
All
don't.
right, I posted it in the chat to everyone so they know.
Liz Puglisi getting some playtime on the interwebs. Way to go, Liz. I haven't seen you in a minute. I just realized that was up there. My bad, guys.
You're killing me, man.
The joys of live TV. The joys of live TV.
There's a bike
Yeah.
going downtown.
All right, and we're gonna go select. All right, that should about do that. And you sent that to the Discord
Chat,
as
yeah.
well.
Yep,
All
I
right.
sent it to General.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, what we are going to do today is just talk about Select Talent. It's been a minute, and really we want to get everybody up to speed on the end of the season, which is fastly approaching for Division 1, Division 2. But to do that, let's go through and get this update started. With me in the booth, we have Corey Bryan. Corey is wanted to step up. He wanted to help out a little bit. So here is the opportunity. So the itinerary for today, we are just going to go through, and we're going to go through basically just the standings, the schedules, see what the league is looking like, and how things are going. Just a mid-season update for everybody. Well, really a late-season update. Again, our goal is to be putting these out once a week going forward, especially with the playoffs fast approaching. But go ahead and, again, our normal running mate is no longer with us in Bryce Smith. Wish you adieu, Bryce. But Corey, introduce yourself. Talk to me, baby.
What it do, yeah. So I am the Purdue user in D2. I'm the D1 user for Notre Dame. So I took over about halfway through there. So I joined Select Talent originally as a normal member, like everybody else. Um, but then I seen that Select Talent needed some help, so I reached out. Just give them
Yep.
extra support, leverage, someone that they can lean on. So
And we have big
not
things
only,
with Select Talent. I don't mean to really interrupt you here, but this is just the start. College football is where we're on the beginning, but we have a couple of other things we're working on ramping up. We again, for those of you who don't know by now, Select Talent started as a 2K league. Really, we started as a 2K Pro-Am team, where we had a group of about 8 guys, and that ventured off. We added more people on and off, and wound up running a league with over 300 people in it in 2K, and we're going to start that back up again as well. Since now that cross-platform is a thing, it allows us to branch into Xbox as well, which is something we hadn't done with Select Talent before. And we have big plans for that. We've got a Madden League that we're putting in the works as well. But let's go through and first, let's just go and quickly
Should we see
let's go through the conference standings to start.
oh yeah, that's always my favorite. They're very interesting.
This is why I love
But
college football. Like it's because
for
you have
real.
there's so many different variations. That even your offline dynasty, you can do so much with this game. So
You're
let's
right.
go through. We are looking at the ACC. This is Division One. Again, we have our teams broken down. We have 4 conferences that we're going to look at for D1, 4 in Division Two, and we have 8 teams in each conference. So starting off, let's take a look who is mathematically ineligible. We're going to start from the bottom and work our way up. We got Zona, who's had a little trouble getting coaches. They have been in a rough
Yeah,
spot all year.
it's crazy. It's
Clemson.
crazy because Arizona's got some dogs on offense with McMillan. He just had a 300-yard game, 4 touchdown, the other week. So he's a dog, and they also got, in my opinion, probably a top 5 quarterback in Noah Fafita.
Yeah.
So
And then we have Clemson, who started off the season with an absolute gut-wrenching blowout of epic, titanic proportions against Georgia. The Bulldogs suffered their worst defeat in ever, if you can count their real history as well. And I don't think they've ever seen a beatdown like that. That was worse than what they did to TCU in the championship game a couple of years ago. It
I
was
don't know. They had
no, it
that
was that
blowout
bad.
against Oregon.
No, it was
They had
that
that
bad.
blowout. They
It,
beat Oregon 49-3, I think, like 2 years ago when Bo Nix started
That's not
for Oregon.
compared. Like you could go, you could go back and look at Clemson's schedule. You could see what that final was. We don't need to go through all that though. Let's just say
No.
that Clemson's coach decided he was going to leave due to personal reasons, and this was not Dabo Swinney. This is our coach.
Yeah.
So they have been downhill since then. But again, 2-5 in conference. Really, we don't care about non-conference play and select talent. That has less to do with really anything else. But going on up, we've got NC State, who looks to be very good at home, not so good on the road, 5-2 and 0-2, and their conference play they're 2-4. Again, these just look at the names, gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not easy, so to speak. And
No.
then going up, we've got 2 teams that are tied at 3-4. So 3-4 doesn't even get you halfway here. Basically, you've got Oregon and Florida State, both around that 500 mark, with number 14 North Carolina sitting at 3-3 in conference. They're also mathematically eliminated, and we can tell you who is going to be in the ACC championship game. You've got the.
But I will say
oh, go
one
for
thing.
it.
No, sorry about that. One thing I will say I am surprised about with the North Carolina user is how well he's used quarterback play there. As we know, between Max Johnson and Connor Harrell, they're both very questionable or young. So definitely props to the North Carolina user for, despite being 3-3 in conference, 8-3 overall. I think that shows how well the user has used that quarterback position with how little talent that we know of as of now from them.
Oh yeah. And so then we've got the the top two. We've got USC, who is at 7-3 overall, but 6-1 in conference. They did lose their last one, going up against a hot Utah Utes team who beat Baylor in real life. Again,
Yeah.
luckily I don't have the camera on. I'm doing an obscene gesture to the TV. But that actually didn't count as a conference game. But with that,
Yeah.
Utah is in sitting pretty, and they will play the Trojans in the ACC championship game.
Ooh.
Just in case anyone was wondering why the teams are bracketed the way they are, and as you want to roll into the next conference, I can talk about that. Basically, we went off
I need
of
the one that-
the
There we go.
we went off of the previous playoff polls, and then we basically grabbed the top number of appearances in that college football playoff poll, which takes out some of the bias from the very beginning of the season. When you have like the Texas, who always winds up in the top 25, who never wasn't finishing in the top 25 for a majority of that poll. Speaking of, we are rolling into the Big 12, D1 Big 12, and with that, let's start from the bottom, work our way up. Oh, you! Ouch! 1-6. They've lost their last four. They haven't won a road game, and stuck at 2-1 at home. Rough times down there in Norman. And then we've got a couple of teams from Texas. Evidently, I see why they left the Big 12 for the SEC, because they can't hack it here. You've got Texas A&M at 4-6, 2-4 in conference, followed by the boys in Austin at 2-4 as well. I wonder, have they played yet? I would love to watch that game. We're gonna have to put that as a game of a week. Up next, again, basically the championship game's already decided at this point with one game left. Really no conference games, hardly any conference games left. You've got Missouri at 3-4, Texas Tech at 3-3, and Oklahoma State at 11. I'm actually surprised they, with that running back they've got, they couldn't do a little more damage.
Yeah.
But Texas Tech is riding hot. They are at a 10 spot right now, working their way up with a 6-game win streak. Look out for them in the playoffs. And then next up, we've got the battle for the Big 12 championship game, which is going to be Kansas and Kansas State.
Yeah, Kansas State for sure has surprised me with a 10-1 record.
K-State,
Ooh.
yeah, they've won 9 straight. They've won 9 straight. That's after a 1-1 start. They rolled. So that is that is fun. Let's go on. We've got a couple more conferences to look at, and then we can look at the upcoming games.
Interesting.
All right, let's go to it.
All right.
All right. So we've got starting off. We have the Iowa Hawkeyes. That's just one where you look at the lineup. They have trouble with offense.
Yeah.
You can still tell that. You can look at the points for again with the whole league, and then you look down at Iowa. This is pretty much true to real life. They really could have used Dontavius to sign with them, but with that, they are down there at 0-6, also at 0-5. Nebraska. They are positive in points for and against, but just have not had any success here in the Big Ten. That means we will have basically the cupcake game of the week between Nebraska and Iowa coming soon. Someone's going to win. Someone's going to start that next season off in the right direction. Up next, we've got Wisconsin at 2-4. Michigan at 3-3. They're also unranked at 5-6 overall. That's a down year for the national champs. That's all we can say about that. They're negative in points per game as well. Going up the board, you've got the Ohio State University at 4-2. They're winners of 5 straight, catching hot at the right time. They are still alive for the Big Ten championship game. This is going to be a fight.
Oh yeah.
Actually, they do have a shot, but they have to beat Michigan, and then chips have to fall where they may. I think Notre Dame is locked at 5-2 because they have a better overall ranking than Michigan State. But if Ohio State can get a dub, It may change things. I don't know how the game is going to play that out, to be perfectly honest. But
Mm-mm.
again, Michigan State and Notre Dame both at 5-2 already in conference,
I
and
will say about Michigan State, um, they the user when they came in, they started out they were 1-2, so they've really picked it up offensively and defensively to where to be in a position to go to the Big Ten title game. So,
1-2 and 7 up. That's
ooh,
that's a way to finish. You got to look at that win streak too. Then you got Notre Dame, 9-2 overall, sitting at fourth in the league, and Penn State. It looks like they're going to have the home game. The Dandelions,
Penn
rocking
State.
out with Screaming Rage.
Yeah, they definitely got the best running back duo with Katron Allen and Nick Singleton.
That's
Though
good. These
they got
championship
good.
games are going to be fun.
Oh yeah, they will for sure.
Yeah, we're gonna hype that up. We're gonna try. One thing we're gonna try to do. We're gonna try to have those set when so we can roll one game at a time and get full coverage. We're really going to try to ramp up the playoffs. The season didn't go as well as expected. We had a couple of things come up off the field. But we're rocking and rolling. We're getting into our main flow. Again, I plan to cover at least 4 of those championship games. With the leagues being offset between D1 and D2, that should be doable. But now we've got the D1 SEC. Ooh,
Ooh, it's
goo! Don't goo, Tigers. Tigers in trouble. 1-6 for both LSU and then just one up Auburn at 1-5. So it's a bad time to be a Tiger in the SEC. Next up, we've got Kentucky at 2-5. They did win their last one, so they're finishing the season. They're about at 500. A couple games left. See what they can do. Try to pull themselves up. Next, you've got Ole Miss at 3-3. This league is tough. There's no off days. Again, they lost their last one. Really would have put them in a good position because really 5-2 may get you in. So mathematically, Alabama is out as well. But again, the Iron Bowl could determine a playoff spot. Auburn could really mess up everything for Alabama if they could sneak out a dub. Florida at 4-2 has a chance if they have a
Georgia
chance
slips
to,
up.
to go over Georgia. I don't know who won that game
I'm
between
not sure
Florida
either.
and Georgia. We'll go through the upcoming games just to see what the rest of the schedule looks like. But you have number 1 Tennessee. They are undefeated. They're putting up 586 points to only giving up 251. That is stout. They're doubling up their opponents, gentlemen. Look out for the Vols here in the playoffs. Run the veer and shoot. So next, let's go to the upcoming schedule just to
All right.
take a peek and see how what it looks like, what big games we've got. We can just do that by conference as well.
All right, let's start in the ACC. Oh, look at that. Graham's already played their game.
Oh, look out! It's Northern Illinois. They can do some
Oh,
damage.
no.
Oh, I had to.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Not after the weekend we just had.
Huskies. Huskies on the road at NC State. You've got go down one. This is gonna be you got a big time rivalry between USC and UCLA for the Iron Bell. Looks like you've got Baylor on the road at Utah. That game got pushed back from real life.
Huh.
And again, Baylor's D2, so that game really doesn't matter. Going down Maryland and Oregon, I don't think that game matters at all. Arizona, TCU. I think TCU is D2 as well, so nothing much there. And Florida State, there's just not much on this slate of games. The big one probably being SC and UCLA.
For sure.
And let's go down to the Big 12.
Ooh. I'm really interested in this Texas Tech and Oklahoma State game.
Yeah, that's a
This got
big
me
one.
excited.
That's a big one. We need to find out what they're playing. That needs to be circled. Both teams at 3-3. This is not so much for the conference, but somebody's gonna be out. Like this may be a play. This is a playoff game, gentlemen. At
Oh
10
yeah.
versus 11, this is basically your play-in game right here. I'll be looking for that one. Iowa State at Kansas State, Cincinnati at Kansas. That's really the only
Yeah.
big
These-
one on the board.
I wonder if Kansas State might accidentally slip up against Cincinnati, though. I wonder. Because Cincinnati could be that sneaky team where you think,
Aren't they D2?
they might be, yeah.
Yeah,
But even sometimes the CPU just likes to randomly give a user trouble here or there. So,
true.
I mean,
Then there is another user game, Alabama at Oklahoma. Good luck, OU. You're gonna need it.
well, yeah. That's one way to put it.
Ouch.
Ouch. But,
Oh, UCH. But yeah, let's go on to the next. What we got next?
the Big Ten.
All right. Purdue. That's D2.
So yeah, really, the only user versus user is Wisconsin and Nebraska. The
Oh,
battle
like
of the
it.
mids.
All right,
But
let's
it's-
go down to it. Go down to it. Yep, there's a trophy involved. Somebody's
Yeah.
gonna win. Let's go. I think Nebraska can pull this off, get their first Big 12 win.
I
Big
believe in
Ten win.
Nebraska only because I'm a Dylan Rayola fan. So
Hey, it's a home game. It's a
Yeah.
home game at night in Lincoln. That's
Yeah,
going to be
that's-
fun. All right, and then to finish things off, we've got the Southern.
yeah,
As-
SEC. Yeah, I went to the wrong conference. There we go.
All right, Texas
Ooh.
A&M at Auburn.
Yeah.
That's a user game, but yeah,
No, it isn't a user game.
It's not?
Oh. No,
Oh,
we don't have an A&M user.
oh,
Oh, but looking at those Georgia Tennessee scores though. Woo wee. Somebody didn't want to lose their positioning in those standings. Ooh.
Then we got Florida, Ole Miss. Ole Miss fighting to stay over 500. Florida looking for a playoff berth. That's a tough one too. That's still going to be number 2 on the list. We have to give the game of the week over to Oklahoma State in that one coming up.
Oh yeah.
Let's go back to that real quick. Can we look at that matchup in
For what are they? Big 12?
Big 12? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they're ranked 10 and 11 respectively.
Oh yeah, this is gonna be a fun one. But let's go ahead and switch gears. Let's go back down to D2. We got another 32 teams to talk about, and we'll see what we can
Oh
do.
yeah. All right.
Wait.
You don't want to go over stats so far for D1?
Really, it's all about the dubs.
That's true.
Stats don't matter. Like we're not giving out awards
Yeah.
for stats. We give awards to the coaches, and
Yeah, let me
if
go.
you if we don't
D2
care if
for
you beat a team 120 to nothing, like you're playing an AI, if you win 120 to nothing, we don't care. You're not going to get anything extra from us. Like it's all about what you do on the
It's all
field.
about them stick skills.
It's all about those dubs.
Yeah.
Dubs overall.
All right. Oh man, the ACC is a wild one. When you see the conference standings, oh.
Shmoo.
wild.
Down in the dumps. Yikes.
ACC is a fight over there.
Yeah, so we've got realistically you've got 4 teams mathematically eligible for the championship game, which includes everyone from Pitt on up. There is a possibility where you could have a 4-way tie at 4-3, possibly.
Yeah.
But let's
Or
just start off. SMU, rough start moving up to the ACC. Probably would have dominated in if they stayed in the AAC. You got Syracuse at 4-6. Wake Forest at 3-7. We've got Pitt. As I mentioned, they still have an outside shot looking in at 3-3. They have to win their game and hope for chaos. Next up, you've got Georgia Tech, the Rambling Wreck at 4-3. Their conference season's finished, and they probably have a pretty decent non-conference game against Georgia, I would expect. But then you've got Louisville.
and what Louisville needs is Miami to lose the last two conference games for them to get in.
Did they
Is
lose?
really what-
Did
Yeah,
Miami?
Louisville lost to
Okay.
Miami.
Yeah, so they need absolute chaos. And again, Georgia Tech and Pitt need both of them to lose, straight flat out. Virginia Tech is
Virginia Tech's in.
VT's in and looking pretty solid. Winning, you can't say anything if you haven't lost a game. Doubling up their opponents too.
Man,
They're
Alright.
doing things down in Blacksburg. Well,
Yeah.
what we got next?
the Big 12.
Duh, Bears.
You really? Oh, good Lord.
If you don't know, I'm a diehard Baylor fan, so this is a pleasant
Oh,
surprise. Number 3 in the nation, looking like 2014 all over again. With that, putting up 640 points, doubling up their opponents. Biggest gap in that I've seen so far. Also have a couple of playoff contenders in here as well. But let's as always, start off from the bottom. You've got South Carolina, the Gamecocks at 1-6. They had a pretty rough go of it. TCU not much better, 1-5 in conference, and looking to improve. They again, it's hard to out recruit teams in the Metroplex. And with that, we've got Iowa State at 2-5 in conference. Then you've got West Virginia at 2-3. They still have 2 conference games. They could try and move up, but it does look like this is pretty much locked up at the top. You've got West Virginia. Also at 2-3, Cincinnati at 3-3. When you look at how Cincinnati's built, that's actually that's not bad.
No,
They
yeah,
they
especially-
were they
run
had to work
3,
their
4
way up.
Yeah, they run 3 or 4 running backs deep.
Yeah.
So it's pretty impressive.
Then next up, you have another actual Big 12 team in UCF at 4-2, 5-4 overall. That's a pretty tough go for the non-conference when we tried to set you guys up for success. But with that, next up, you've got Memphis. Memphis at 6-1, and Baylor currently undefeated. They would have to lose twice and have a whole bunch of bad things happen for them to be out of the title shot.
Yeah, that's
but-
true.
But Baylor running that air raid. Monterey
Hard to
Baldwin
stop. Yeah.
can't coach speed.
Nope.
All right, let's. Speaking of speed, let's go to the Big Ten.
Yeah. There's some burners in this conference.
And the team with the highest points per game, the Purdue Boilermakers sitting up top. Going down from the bottom, you've got the homeless Northwestern Wildcats. You've got Illinois, excuse me, at 1-4. Minnesota 2-4. Rutgers at 2-4. Woo Pig Suey finished up at 4-3. It's a little bit of a decline here at the end, losing 4 straight. That means they were at 5-1. And then the losses came. Next up, you've got Mississippi State, winners of 6 straight, trying to claw their way into the championship game. They are number 7 in the league. One thing we have to do when we wrap up, we have to go back to D1 and look at the playoff bracket. That's one thing we did not do. Next up, you've got IU, Indiana. The Hoosiers are looking for that last spot. May get a rematch against Purdue, but Purdue is absolutely torching people. They are 10-0
Yeah, well,
with.
so Purdue actually hasn't played IU yet. That's the last game of the season for the old bucket
Well,
thing.
Mississippi needs some help.
I think Mississippi beat IU in conference. So
Yeah, like I said, if Mississippi State wins whoever they would play, then and Indiana loses to Purdue, which would be is what the experts say. Um, then you could have a top 10 matchup for the Big Ten title game. That
yeah.
would be nice. And who do we have next? But yeah, so far nobody's outdoing that Oklahoma State game for the game of the week.
No, that game's gonna be exciting to watch for sure.
All right, you got the Pac-12. We've got an 0-6 Washington State Cougars. You've got a 1-4 Oregon State. I was really hoping that these guys could pull out a little more. They're 5-5 overall, but again, you've got pretty stiff competition in this league. It's pretty even across the board, I would think. Sans Michael Penix, that one hurt Washington from the title game last year. They're at 2-4. Arizona State at 3-4. You've got Boise State at 3-3. Then looking on up the top, you've got Stanford at 4-3, but we already do have a lock for the Pac-12 championship game. That is going to be the Bruins of UCLA against Colorado.
Yeah, that'll be
Colorado at 7-0.
interesting. That one will be interesting because it'll be a rematch from the Colorado's at home, so and they just snuck by if I'm not mistaken.
Again, you can see the difference. D2, there's a lot. Like I said, I didn't think D1 was going to have anybody undefeated. Tennessee sneaking out there, but looking
Oh
overall,
yeah,
you've got 3 undefeated teams here. So let's go and look at the playoffs for D1 really quick, or D2, excuse me. D2, and then we'll go through the upcoming games, and then we'll go back to D1 and we'll call it wraps. But let's take a peek and see what everyone's looking like. All right, so we got a couple of users. You've got undefeateds across the board in the quarterfinal buys with Colorado, Virginia Tech, Purdue, and Baylor. I don't think it matters who goes where because you're going to get stiff competition after that. Again, these are all neutral site games. However, the home games are going to be pretty interesting for that first round playoffs. Looking like Memphis is going to be in there. Mississippi State sneaking in. You got a couple. Georgia Tech, Nebraska. Nope, Nebraska's D1. So may have to have. We have a few D1 teams sneaking in, but again, Nebraska should be force lost.
yeah, for sure.
Yep, that's what we need to make sure we're doing there. And then other than that, what do you think?
I mean,
Looking at Georgia Tech and UCLA.
I don't know. I think it's a toss-up personally. I mean, because anybody could slip up at any moment, so it's like
Oh yeah,
you don't know.
And as the playoffs go in, that second round is going to be brutal. Basically, every one of these games, you're going to start getting these undefeated teams are eventually going to cross paths, and we're going to be in for some treats here in the end of the season.
For sure.
Looking at the ACC, we do have IU versus Pitt. Pitt needs that game.
So does IU.
Yeah, IU
Just
really
wanna shoot
needs
up
it.
The rankings.
IU needs it. Other than that, that's pretty much all we got this week. No.
Oh, Baylor, West Virginia. Oh,
Oh,
that. Oh, now that might be interesting.
that'll be a fun one.
Yeah.
McLean's gonna be rocking.
Oh my gosh. I'm sorry, but I don't know, man.
McLean's gonna be rocking.
This in my life.
At least we're not playing in Morgantown. Baylor at home. I'm going to pick that one. TCU against La Tech. I'm going to take TCU. Iowa State, Cincinnati. I'm going to go with the home team there too. Illinois and UCF.
I'm taking UCF.
Yeah.
I've even without a user, I've seen how good their team is and how talented it is, especially with KJ Jefferson and RJ Harvey. Woo!
Yeah, you got your work cut out for you, Illinois. Let's go next.
Oh, yeah.
All right, we've got that Minnesota Mississippi State game's going to be vital as well. Indiana at Pitt.
Yeah, I mean, not a lot of
No, we already.
games
Yeah.
for the last.
Oh, let's go to the pack.
Ooh, could there be an upset at the Rose Bowl? Washington, UCLA.
I mean, I'd always give them a fighting chance. I'd always give them a chance. Looks
Boise
like
State almost beat Oregon.
Oh, we're not going to look at what Colorado did to Hawaii.
Yeah, no. We're gonna run past that.
I mean, the hardest part about being Colorado is you gotta recruit. Holy cow, you gotta recruit. Oh, speaking of,
Yeah.
before we jump into D1, go to recruiting really quick.
Oh, let me. Okay, where do I gotta go for that? Even I don't even know for that.
No, just go back. Go to recruiting.
Oh, okay.
It's so late in the season, I don't think it's a problem to show it off. I would.
Top classes.
Yep, that's exactly what
There
we're
we
looking
go.
for. Just click over as fast as you can.
Let's go. ACC. Miami's at the top. Okay, and then you got. Wow, South Carolina is leading in the Big 12. Interesting.
No, go back to the ACC. I want to see something really quick. Because I originally set up that board. I'm curious. Go down to SMU. Who they got for QB?
Oh,
SMU
no.
got 2 5-stars.
Ooh, and their receivers.
No,
Ooh.
that's the one. The income. Look out for him. Look out for that boy.
Is he fast?
97 speed.
Oh no!
97
No.
speed, and you got those 2 receivers. They're like I said, SMU's going to be tough for year 1, but they're in a position to build. Preston Stone coming back as a senior. Yeah, I think that's where the recruiting's going to be a problem. But yeah, you got some burners over there for the ponies.
Yeah, for sure.
Miami bringing in a 5-star. Even Georgia Tech brought in a 5-star. They didn't do again. Only 2 recruits. That's tough.
Yeah, I was actually
Yeah.
surprised that Syracuse brought in 6. Wake Forest with 5. I mean, with how tough their conference is, I mean, it's hard to probably out-recruit Miami and Va Tech right now with how, explosive they are. So
Yeah, but at least SMU got those guys. All right, let's go to the next. Sorry. I started off as SMU's head coach before I took a more of a overall role. With that, West Virginia only with 1 3-star recruit. That's a little tough. Baylor didn't do much either. So Baylor has to go all in and win it out. That's what we're looking at here. Memphis, looking at 6 pickups, almost all 3-stars. TCU brought in a whole lot of 3-stars. A solid class. They probably filled a bunch of holes. Really only the 1 5-star for Iowa State. Go down to them real quick and see who they picked up. I expect
right tackle.
Oh yeah, there's just a little bit of delay. Yep. So I had a 4-star running back. Let's go on to the 10.
Yeah, this darn delay. I got to figure out how to fix that.
Well, Rutgers with the top spot so far. And Arkansas down there at the bottom. Pretty much not many
What?
pickups here in D2.
At least they're offensive linemen though, so they'll help on the
Yeah.
line.
I mean, some of these are rebuilding projects anyway, even against this level of competition. See, the biggest difference in select talent is everyone's put in the same basic level with these schools. So you don't get the easy wins. And that
For
that
sure.
hurts.
I'm actually interested in Minnesota's recruiting because they have two 4-star receivers and
Hmm.
that big offensive tackle in that corner. So I'm kind of excited to see how Minnesota plays out
Yeah,
next year for
Willingham's
sure.
Willingham's a hoss. 6'7", 238 or 328.
I mean, he's a big boy.
Hmm.
Woo!
All right, let's go into look at the pack, and then we'll do the same thing for a
Wow.
D1 as we wrap up.
And their playoffs, yeah.
All right, so there we go. We got a couple of 5-star commits. So this
Wow.
must just have been a rebuilding year for Washington. Colorado moving up, but they have a whole lot of holes to fill. Like
Recruiting
it's
corners, yeah, they need it
like
with
yeah,
most of their good corners leaving.
good quarters, good quarterback, good receiver. Yeah, yeah,
Maybe they can convince Travis Hunter to stay an extra year for his senior year.
yeah. At being number 5, I don't know. Looks like Coach Prime's got his work cut out for him on the recruiting end, but again, I'm sure that they're going to go really heavy on the transfer portal. I think
Oh yeah,
because again, with one thing with the transfer portal here in D2, all those
bringing
teams
the
in
shit in
D1
order.
that are no longer looking at those top spots, you're gonna have a whole lot of deal breakers
Yeah,
championship contender. Those are going to be on the table. One thing I just want to tell everybody in D2 to look out for, and I did this in a pair of dynasties. If you find Jeremiah Love transferring out of Notre Dame,
mm.
you got to try to pick him up.
Him and
He's
also Nick Harbor. He transfers a lot out of South Carolina. I've seen
yeah.
him a lot of dynasties that I've been in offline and other ones I've seen online. Yeah, he transfers most seasons. So like 9 out of 10 times he usually transfers.
Yep, so try to grab Jeremiah Love. That should be a fun one for Colorado. We'd be great at Colorado, actually. But let's go and do the same thing. Let's go back to D1 really quick. We're going to try to wrap this up on time. And we'll look at the playoff picture there. And then wrapping up, we'll go through their recruiting too, which you should see a major gap between Division 2 and Division 1. That's just a hypothesis, if you will.
You want to start in the playoff bracket or recruiting for
Let's
D1?
start off in the playoff bracket. We'll just do the same thing because I don't know when it's going to time us out.
Ooh, this is an interesting looking bracket for sure.
All right, let's take a peek. Your top 4 seeds as of now are Tennessee, Kansas State, Penn State, and Utah. Only 3 losses between them. The only undefeated team is Tennessee. Somehow, and we need to make sure that we force loss this, App State should not be in at
No.
12. So Notre Dame looking like they would have a home game against the Volunteers, or Mountaineers, excuse me. You've got that would be a fun game. Ohio State and Alabama. Again, we don't know if either one of these, Oklahoma State or Texas Tech, is going to survive that loss in the upcoming game of the week between the Raiders and the Cowboys. Georgia sitting at 8-3, they look pretty solid, and then Kansas at 9-1, outside shot of moving up possibly if anybody fails, especially if they win that game against K State. That could be a bye.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you got to look at how these conference championship games are going to affect things. Basically, Notre Dame is probably sitting there at 5.
Well, if
Maybe they.
they might drop a few spots, if they play in the Big Ten title and lose. So
Or you can move up if you beat Penn State.
yeah,
It's, But yeah, this looks pretty wide open. Let's go to recruiting just to wrap things up.
Yeah, no. When I played against Penn State. They had a formation with running 3 running backs at once. It's a scary formation to try and stop. That's all I got to say about that. They've got a scary formation.
All right, and let's look at the top. Yeah, we can just leave it here at the top class. We don't need to go
Okay.
in between. Again, just look at the heavy hitters. Georgia, sitting there,
That's my bad.
bringing in 6 5-star recruits. Bama with 5. LSU, even though they are down in the dumps this season, picking up a top
Yeah.
3 recruiting class. Life's good down there in Baton Rouge. Penn State doing their thing. The U somehow sneaking in with 15 4-stars. I guess it's always easy to recruit down in South Florida when you got that home field advantage. At Michigan, solid class, rounding up the top 10. You've got South Carolina, again, not a user. That's D2 sneaking in there. Florida, Oregon, Texas, they always recruit well. They have that NIL money down there in Austin. You've got Ole Miss, and that pretty much wraps up your top 10.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is what we thought we were going to see. The Division One's going to be a war. Overall, yeah, just keep scrolling down to the top 25. You should see more users pop up. I would expect the user teams to do a little more damage. Like you said, even in the bottom end of the SEC, these conferences are ranked so high that, well, SMU even as a AI, it picks up another 5-star recruit. And with that, you've got Utah and Kansas wrapping that up. Notre Dame with a solid class, picking up 2 5-stars. And Tennessee, with again, they're being pretty solid. So overall, I think we're about to get into the nitty gritty the next couple of games. This week, not so much, with just that one big game we've got coming up between Texas Tech hosting Oklahoma State. Really, coaches of those teams need to get with me, and we've got to find a time to run that because that one needs to go live.
For sure.
100%. So we look forward to doing this every week, especially as the playoffs get closer. We're going to try to include some highlights. We're going to try to do our part, make this look a little better each week. And we'll go from there. Hopefully we can have a rundown of that highlights from the Oklahoma State game. And I look forward to talking with everybody next week. And pretty much the same time as what we're going to try to shoot for, just how we have a recurring theme. And hope you guys have a great day. Take care.
See ya.